Okay, I wanted to start with interesting thing, especially for people who love tulips and they've got them in the garden. They originated from not from Holland, like lots of people might think that they originated from Holland. Tulips originated from Turkey. Yes, they have originated from Turkey. First time they were growing in Turkey as a wild flowers, and then obviously they became more popular. So that's an interesting fact. In today's video, what to do with your tulips once they finish flowering. Okay, around 2 weeks after Easter, my tulips in front of the house has finished flowering. Those in here, as you can see, those are back of my house and they're getting a bit much less light, much less sunshine. So those are still standing strong, but as you can see, he's slowly finishing flowering. As you can see, the petals are going down. You can see a little bit longer and they will definitely finish flowering too. But those in here, I think I put them in the ground a bit later than the one in front of the house, so they obviously flowered a little bit later as well. I would definitely recommend it when you're putting them in the ground to put them in the same time when you are putting them from seeds, from bulbs, so they can flower at the same time. And definitely the tip from my mom, always put them few in one spot, probably three here, three here, three here. Can display, the display will be much nicer, not like a single ones. Okay, with tulips, the good thing about them is that you don't have to spend much money on them, because the most common things to do with the tulips is when they finish flowering, we're basically gonna cut them to the ground and leave them as that, and then next year they will just basically flower again on its own, and they're probably gonna multiply as well. So the best thing is to leave them, cut them to the ground, leave them, and they will grow back next year. Or it depends on the climate of your country, you can basically cut them out completely to the ground, take the bulbs out and basically store them somewhere dark, and probably store them in a paper, and that way you can put them again where you want it, or you can change the location. Tulips likes to change the location after a while, so you can change the location and basically put them somewhere else next year. What to do when your tulips finish flowering? There's of course a couple of options to choose from, but I will tell you which one is the best in my opinion. Okay, option one, once your tulips are gonna finish flowering, you can basically discard the whole tulip and get rid of it. So you're basically gonna cut it to the ground, dig in, take the bulb out and basically throw it to the bin, get rid of it. And next year you can basically choose a different one and just basically put it in wherever you want it, maybe different location. If you don't want them anymore, it's up to you. So that's the first option, of course, but I just think it's a bit of waste, so I wouldn't necessarily go with that one. So let's move to option two. Okay, option two is basically we're gonna cut our tulips up to the ground, take the bulbs out, cover them in paper, dry paper, and then we'll store them in a dark place over winter time, and we'll put them basically back in the ground. We can change the location, we can put them in the same location, it's giving us that choice, and they will bloom really nice next year. So that's the option two. Okay, option three, we're gonna cut our tulips up to the ground and leave our bulbs inside the ground, and then for next year they will basically come back and flower in the same spot. This way you can save yourself money and they will come back and flower for us, not much effort needed, and then they will probably multiply as well, which is probably the best option. But first I will explain you how to do it properly, so you will get a lovely tulips in a year after as well, so you get value for your money. Those tulips in here, as you can see, those in here has nearly finished flowering, those didn't even came out yet. So the plan is that those in here I will basically cut to the ground and then dig out the bulbs and basically change the location, because plan is in here that I've got roses in here, as you can see, one in here, one there, and I want whole row of roses, so I'm gonna be getting rid of the tulips in here completely. Okay, first thing, after your tulips has finished flowering, we want to deadhead them. So we're just gonna basically cut out the flower head only, nothing else, just a flower, that whole flower head. So we're gonna cut it in here with a sharp tool. Okay, what we want to do, we want to cut the flower head so all the energy will go back to the bulb. The only way to do it is not by cutting all of it up until ground straight away. The correct way of doing it, so basically taking all the energy back to the bulb, is not by cutting everything at once, giving a shock to your tulips and losing all that energy from here, but basically cutting the deadheading your tulip, so getting rid of the flower head first, then letting while your tulip still got some foliage, green foliage, nice and healthy. That means all the energy is still in this part and green part in here. So what we want to do, we want this reversing back to the bulb, so the bulb is stronger for next year and giving us nice flowers. So what we want to do, we're gonna deadhead that first, wait till the foliage on your tulips turns yellow. Once the energy is drained back from top to the bottom and the foliage is turned yellow, then it's time to cut it up to the ground, and then you can leave the bulb basically for next year. If you want to have lovely flowers as nice as this year flowers, what you have to do, if you're keeping them in the ground, is fertilize them. So around probably March time, you want to fertilize your tulips, and then we're gonna come back for your in spring looking as nice as this year. So this is the correct way of cutting and keeping your tulips. If you want your tulips to look as nice as the first year they bloomed, the best thing is to fertilize them. There's lots of fertilizer to choose from. We're doing them in March, fertilizing them, and they will bring back nice display each year. Those were tulips over there, which I had in back of my house. Now we're gonna go in front of my house. I will show you the front, the red nice tulips. Okay, now we're gonna go in front of the house. I will show you my red tulips. They are the ones which we've seen from the picture. They looked incredible, but then you will see what's happened to them. We're gonna get secateurs, a sharp one, and we're gonna deadhead them as it's time. They definitely bloomed and ready to be deadhead. Okay, look guys, what's happened to them. All this, and I'll tell you why. One big disaster. So my tulips, they bloomed all really nicely in time for Easter, and then there was a disaster. I will include the video how they look like during the Easter time in a second. And after Easter, what happened, I took my bins out, they emptied the bins, and then it was really windy, and the bins, heavy bins, basically went and destroyed all my tulips. So that wasn't pretty, but that's fine. The good thing is that it happened after Easter, and basically they already finished blooming, so they were ready, you know, they finished for a season anyway, so that's okay. It's not the worst thing which could have happened, because at least it didn't happen before Easter or during the Easter time. But this year I was surprised how beautiful they looked, so definitely gonna be keeping them for next year. Now I'm just gonna include the video from last, how they were blooming during the Easter time. In 3, 2, 1. The plan is that I'm gonna, of course, want to keep them for next year, the same as this year. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna deadhead them, basically cut out just a flower head. As you can see in here, there are seeds in here, so a plant wasting energy on seeds, that's not what we want. We want a really beautiful display next year. So just gonna deadhead them now, wait for the foliage to become yellow, then I'm gonna cut it to the ground. Of course, I'm gonna feed the tulips during March time, and we're gonna come back as nice or even better next year without much effort. So that's the plan for this in here. This is my dead-headed head. So as I said, we don't want to be cutting them all the way to the ground. We want that energy to go back to our bulb. So we're gonna have to deadhead them and wait for our leaves to go yellow. So I'm gonna deadhead all the flowers and I'll show you how they look like after. The last thing I want to mention is, once you're gonna cut them to the ground, you're obviously gonna have different plants in your garden and you're gonna be doing some gardening during the year. So what you want to do, very good tip, you want to mark probably some kind of marker which you can stick to the ground where the bulb is, so by accident you're not gonna damage it. Also, another thing which I remember, when the leaves gonna go yellow, you don't want to pull it out. If you pull it out, you might damage the bulb again, and you want to keep them in the ground. So never pull them out, and also mark them where the bulb is once you cut it to the ground, so you know where it is when you're gonna do the gardening. So that will prevent damage, and you won't, by mistake, damage them or cut them out or do anything to them. So that's the best thing. Never ever pull them out. Okay. That will be everything in this video. I will see you in my next one.